This is apparently 1,200 sticky notes. Another 1,200, another 1,200, another 1,200, another 1,200, another 1,200, another 1,200, another 1,200. I bought 10 of them, so I have some total of 12,000 infinico sticky notes. And the goal is to create the largest or longest flip note in the history of planet Earth. But none of this really matters because the only number that I actually have to beat to set the world record for the largest flip book is apparently 1,001 pages, which is the number of pages some dude in India made for his flip book, which is apparently the world record. And if you don't remember what a flip book is, it's just one of these little things that you probably made when you were a little kid. So I'm prepared for this to take me eons to complete. I'm thinking of ways to speed it up, I just don't know how. So I'm gonna continue making progress. Wish me luck though, this is gonna be tough. Now while my drawings were no Picassos, it was still taking me an average of roughly 45 to 70 minutes per 100 pages, and that's just because sometimes I would go pretty detailed and sometimes I would reduce the amount of detail in each page, so it really did vary depending upon how hard I was going on each page and each stack for that matter, but it was extremely time consuming. Alrighty folks, I've officially finished 200 pages. If I gotta say, I like the way this is turning out. I've never made any flipbook this big before, I don't think. I've always made like half of these thickies, maybe one of these thickies. I have quite a lot of drawing ahead of me, but this should be finished in no time if I just don't stop, don't sleep, do nothing for the next 5 days, and yeah, it should be done. Little did I know though that the next 100 pages of my flipbook would take me twice as long because I started using a ton of black, so I had to shade in all of these massive circles and whatnot, and it ended up taking a lot of time and a lot of ink. Alrighty gang, 3 thickies down. If I want to break the world record for the largest flipbook, I need roughly 5.5 of these left to go, and then I'll have 1,000 and something. So as you might have guessed, I continued drawing, and little did I know though, there were some recurring themes in each little thickie I kept drawing. The idea of life, conflict, death, and rebirth continued to pervade each and every little thickie I was drawing, and my flipbooks got pretty oddly violent for some reason. I was just kind of absent-mindedly drawing all this stuff too, but it's kind of one massive cycle of life loop, so it's kind of interesting if you notice the recurring little themes or motifs. We are roughly halfway there to the world record of the longest flipbook. I haven't used a pen in probably 4 or 5, maybe 5 months. I haven't drawn in probably years or maybe a year or two, who knows, a long time. This is what roughly 500 pages looks like. Well, I'm no artist, but with stick figures and imagination, you can make some pretty cool stuff. So with the more detailed thickies like the one you're watching right now that's using a ton of ink, that was taking me roughly 90 minutes plus to 2 hours. And what's interesting about these little flip books is that if you use an actual sticky pad, you only get really half of the page to draw with, so you're limited in terms of size. So it gets really tough when you try to do more and more detailed stuff with the size of a sticky note. So basically the only restraints at play here are page size and time, and of course creative imaginative drawing ability. Drawing something, even if you think it's relatively simple, takes a long time if you do it over and over, frame by frame, and then add details to the next frame. If this were an actual like anime, let's say if this were like Dragon Ball Z, then yeah, it must take hundreds and hundreds if not thousands of hours to animate one episode. But in reality, if you watch like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, you'll see like a freeze frame, then they zoom in on one frame. So for instance, you'll have a freeze frame of my homie Giorno Giovanna right here, and then it'll be like, "Kore wa nan desu ka?" Once I finish, it'll be cool, trust me. And if I'm gonna be straight up honest, things just got weirder the more I drew. Alright, the 6th thickie is complete. This one got a little morbid, I will say. I'm starting to get obsessed with some sort of cycle of death, rebirth, life, and then getting killed. It's pretty messed up. I probably should have kept this a little more PG, but it's done. We are 720 pages in. I read some more that Akira Toriyama, the author of Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball, etc., didn't use black very often because it took a lot of ink. I'm experiencing this firsthand. The great darkness on the page takes a lot of freaking ink and a lot of effort and a lot of wrist movement. I'm achieving some pretty cool movement just with outlines and then shapes, and then those shapes evolve, etc. I'm gonna knock out these last 300 pages and this should turn out really cool. I don't know about any of you watching, but when I was a kid, I went through this short phase where I used to read manga, and now I've kind of lost a lot of interest in reading anything for that matter, and I watch anime here and there. But with that being said, I've always had this deep-seated desire to write and draw a hit shonen manga that absolutely dominates the world record for the most amount of copies sold. And then I began to question myself, thinking whether or not I would even enjoy drawing to this caliber, and I really just began to realize that drawing is actually quite difficult, and I probably have a good 10,000 plus hours until I could even catch up to most of these manga artists. Alright, the 7th thickie has been completed. That one was painful. Couldn't think of how to continue the little story, I guess. My left-hand wrist has taken quite the toll, and it's not from you-know-what. This is from serious pen usage. I could see how people who do this every day, instant, easy carpal tunnel syndrome, without a doubt, in the first couple months if they're drawing this hard every day. So, mangakas, the dudes who write mangas out there, mad props to you. And the light at the end of the tunnel was closer than I ever would have thought. After a grueling 10 hours, I only had 1.5 sticky pads left to finish, and I was completely done with the ultimate flipbook. The question is, was my drawing level at a 3rd or 4th grade level? Please comment below. I finally finished the 8th thickie right here, so I'm officially done with 960 pages. So I'm gonna get one more thickie, divide it into 3, and then take one of those thirds, slap it on this counter, annihilate the rest of these pages, compile them together, and you're gonna see one of the greatest, most fluid flipbooks in your lifetime. And then the inevitable happened. I finished and conquered the world record. Thank Christ, I finished the world record flipbook, and it's not even as thick as I would have hoped. This right here is 1,002 pages. It doesn't look like a lot, but it's quite a bit to actually draw this stuff out page by page by page. Think of this as like a 2 to 3 minute anime. This is, in essence, a movie. When I was a young buck, fresh out the womb, I used to make these here and there when I was a kid. I thought they were pretty magical, and I think they still are. I'll probably never do this again just because this has worn me out quite a bit. This probably took me 10 to 11 to maybe 12 hours. But yeah, it's cool. So if any of you want to make animations or cartoons in the future or right now, there's no excuses because you can literally make a full-fledged cartoon using paper. With all that being said, enjoy my little flipbook. Keep in mind, I'm no Picasso. I'm an average dude with an average artistic acumen, if you will. I will say, the more effort you put into drawing, the better it gets, oddly enough, right? What? Alrighty then. No excuses for all of the aspiring animators, manga artists, or anime artists wannabes out there. If you want to make that happen, make it happen. As I've demonstrated, this right here is obviously enough to make an anime if you really wanted to, but most people are lard asses and won't put in the time, but you 100% can make the greatest anime of all time on these 50-cent sticky pads. I'll admit, I'm lazy at times too, especially for things like this when I absolutely dread doing it. I'm no freaking Picasso out here, that's for certain. I'm just a basic stick figure type of guy, but I'm proud of what I managed to cough up. It's no Mona Lisa, I know. I definitely can improve my drawing if I have any aspirations to do so, and this has shown me that 1, my drawing skills are extremely poor relative to the majority of people who draw manga, with the exception of One Punch Man. I just gotta put that out there. 2, my skills can 100% be improved, I think, beyond the creative, imaginative aspect of all this. When it comes down to just fundamentals of drawing, I think it just comes down to time investment, actually working at one's craft. These are tools, computers are tools, video editing software, they are all man-made tools that allow us to express an image in our heads. So the more hours you put into mastering these tools, the better you can express that mental image, I think. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. That was truly a grind. And subscribe, trying to hit 1 million subscribers by the end of the year. It's definitely possible, and I'm probably gonna make it happen. So hopefully you enjoyed the video. Cheers, have a good one.